In India, any bill can become an act, but before that, it should pass from Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and finally, it should present in front of President for his assent. Here is where presidential veto powers are used, and they are absolute veto, qualified veto, suspensive veto, pocket veto. Out of these, the President of India is vested with three powers. They are absolute, suspensive, and pocket veto. There is no qualified veto in the case of Indian President, but it is possessed by the American President. Only President contain these veto powers because to prevent hasty and ill considerance of legislation by the Parliament and to prevent legislation which may be unconstitutional. And let's see absolute veto. It refers to power of President to withhold his approval on a bill which was passed by the Parliament. As a result, the bill ends and doesn't become an act. But do you know at which situation this absolute veto is used? It is used on a private member bill, that is bill introduced by any member of parliament who is not a minister. And it is also used when the cabinet resigns after the passage of bill but before the approval by the president and the new cabinet advises the president not to give his assent on such bills. For example, in 1954, President Dr. Rajendra Prasad withheld his assent to the PEPSU appropriation bill. The bill was passed by the parliament when the presidential rule was in operation in the state of PEPSU. But when the bill was presented to the president for his assent, the presidential rule was revoked. And Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the only president who appointed twice to the presidential office. In 1991, the then President R. Venkatraman withheld his assent on a bill which increases salary, allowance, pension of parliamentarians. The bill was passed by the parliament on the last day before dissolution of Lok Sabha without obtaining the previous recommendations of the president, and these results to face absolute veto, suspensive veto. The president exercises this veto when he returns a bill for reconsideration of parliament. However, if the bill is passed again by the parliament with or without amendments and again presented to the president, it is obligatory for the president to give his approval on the bill. But at this situation of reconsideration, highest majority is required in the United States. Now let's come to pocket veto. In this case, President neither approve nor reject nor return the bill, but simply keep the bill pending for an indefinite period. This power of President not to be taken any action on a bill is known as pocket veto. And there is no time limit to the President within which he has to take decision with respect to give his approval on the bill. But in the case of United States, the President has to return the bill for reconsideration within 10 days. Hence, it is popularly spoken as the pocket of Indian President is far bigger than that of American President. Look at this example. In 1986, President Jil Singh exercised the pocket veto when widely criticized Indian Post Office bill was passed by the Rajiv Gandhi government, which imposes restrictions on freedom of press. After 3 years, in 1989, the next president R. Venkatramanan sent the bill back for the reconsideration, but the new National Front government decided to drop the bill. And it should be noted here that the president has no veto powers in respect of Constitutional Amendment Bill. The 24th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1971 made it obligatory for the president to give his assent to a constitutional amendment bill. When it comes to state legislative, government and president both have power to give their assent on the bill. This is according to Article 200 that the governor have the same power as the president. But here, governor can send these bills to president if it is inappropriate, and the president has veto powers on these bills too. And there is no limitations to the president when it is state government. He can send bill back to the state government n number of times. Constitutional position of President. Indian President is generally bounded by the advice of his ministers. He can do nothing controversy to their advice and he can't do anything without their advice. But in the case of USA, President can dismiss any secretary at any point of time and he can also act independently. And constitutional position of the President is well described by the 3 articles. They are Article 53, Article 74, Article 75. Article 74 says that there shall be a council of ministers headed by the Prime Minister to aid and advise the President. And Article 75 deals with council of ministers in collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. And these provisions are the foundations of parliamentary system of government. And finally, Article 53. It deals with executive powers of the Union that controlled by the President and exercised by him either directly or through the officers subordinate to him. And there are two important constitutional amendments deals with the president. They are Amendment 42 and Amendment 44. Amendment 42 was enacted by the Indira Gandhi, and this made the president bound to the advice of Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. The 44th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1978 was enacted by the Morarji Desai, which says president may return a matter once for reconsideration of his minister, but if the minister send the proposal again, he should implement it, and the reconsideration advice shall be binding. For example, in 1997, Cabinet recommended President K.R. Narayana to impose presidential rule in UP. But President returned this for the reconsideration of the Cabinet, which then decided not to move ahead in the matter of presidential rule in UP. This situation was repeated again in 1998, but this time Cabinet re-advised R.K. Narayana to impose presidential rule in Bihar. It was only then presidential rule was imposed in Bihar. Like, share and subscribe.